Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today's topic, it might stir the pot a little, but it's time we had a real, raw conversation about attraction. Like it or not, women fall in love with certain types of men. And no, it's not always about looks, money, or flashy status. It goes way deeper than that. I'm talking about traits, specific behaviors and qualities that make a man unforgettable, magnetic, and yes, completely irresistible. Some of these might surprise you. Others might make perfect sense once you hear the psychology behind them. But one thing's for sure, when a man embodies these traits, love usually isn't far behind. So, grab a drink, settle in, and let's break down the truth about why women fall and who they fall for. 1. Men who have a purpose bigger than themselves. Let's start here, because this is one of the strongest signals a man can give off, a sense of purpose. Women are naturally drawn to men who are going somewhere. A man with a mission, whether that's building a business, making art, improving himself, or pursuing a passion, is immediately more attractive. Why? Because purpose signals direction. It says, I'm not just drifting, I'm building. That creates a sense of stability, momentum, and focus that women respect and often fall for. It's not about money or fame. It's about drive. A man with purpose isn't obsessed with proving himself to others. He's working on something bigger than approval. And that kind of confidence, it radiates. 2. Men who are emotionally grounded. Here's one a lot of guys overlook: emotional stability. Women don't fall for emotional chaos. They fall for grounded energy. That doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being in control of your reactions. A man who can handle stress without lashing out, who can talk through conflict instead of shutting down, who's calm under pressure. He creates safety, and emotional safety. That's the foundation of intimacy. When a woman feels like she can trust you with her thoughts, her feelings, her vulnerability, that's when walls come down and real connection begins. 3. Men who are playful and confident, but not arrogant. Confidence is sexy, but let's be clear, there's a big difference between confidence and cockiness. What women really love: a man who's playful, who can flirt, joke, banter, and not take himself too seriously. The kind of vibe says, I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not trying to prove anything. Playfulness opens the door to laughter, ease, and chemistry. And when you combine that with real self-assurance, without being arrogant, you create a dynamic that's irresistible. She sees a man who's fun to be around, who can lighten the mood without being the center of attention, and who brings good energy to every room. That's magnetic. For men who don't chase, they attract. Let's get real for a second. One of the most attractive things a man can do is not chase. And no, that doesn't mean playing games. It means being centered. A man who knows his value doesn't beg for attention, validation, or affection. He doesn't try to win a woman over. He shows up as himself and lets things unfold naturally. This creates mystery, not because he's withholding, but because he's not desperate. And women feel that difference instantly. It's the man who can walk away, who doesn't need her to complete him, who respects himself enough to not overextend. That's the guy who gets remembered. That's the guy she keeps thinking about long after the conversation ends. 5. Men who are passionate about life. Passion is contagious. Whether it's music, sports, design, writing, traveling, whatever it is, when a man has something he loves, it shows. A passionate man has fire in his eyes. He's not just existing, he's living. And that energy is magnetic. Women fall in love with men who are alive inside, because that passion, it spills into how you speak, how you touch, how you engage with the world. And it inspires her to connect with her own desires, too. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous. But when you're passionate, you're unforgettable. 6. Men who make her feel like the only woman in the room. There's a difference between showing interest and making her feel seen. A woman falls hard for the man who, when she's with him, makes her feel like she's the only one who matters. He listens without checking his phone. He remembers little things she says. He's present. This isn't about flattery. It's about attention. Focused, intentional attention. It makes her feel valued, not just admired. And that level of attunement, it creates emotional intimacy faster than anything else. When a man sees beyond her looks, when he sees her mind, her heart, her soul, that's when she starts to feel something deeper. That's when the walls start to drop. 7. Men who lead with integrity. Integrity. It might not sound sexy at first, but trust me, it's everything. A man who keeps his word, who's honest, even when it's inconvenient, who stands for something and doesn't fold under pressure. That kind of man earns a woman's respect and her love. Because let's be honest, flaky, inconsistent behavior is exhausting. And unfortunately, it's common. So when a woman meets a man who does what he says, who's consistent, and who doesn't compromise his character for convenience, she pays attention. That man becomes rare. And in a world full of talkers, she falls for the one who follows through. 8. Men who aren't afraid of intimacy. Here's a truth that not enough men realize. Physical chemistry is great, but emotional intimacy? That's where the real magic happens. A woman falls in love when she feels like she can connect, when she feels like she can let her guard down. But to do that, she needs to see you doing the same. Not every moment needs to be deep, but being vulnerable, being open about what you want, what scares you, what you dream about, that invites her in. The strongest connections happen when both people feel safe to be seen. And a man who can create that safety wins her heart. 9. Men who challenge her in the right way. Women fall in love with men who challenge them, not in a combative way, but in a way that pushes them to grow. A man who doesn't just agree with everything, who has his own opinions, who holds his boundaries, who encourages her to be her best self and doesn't shrink to make her comfortable. That kind of strength isn't about dominance, it's about respect. He respects her enough to tell the truth, to ask the hard questions, to hold her accountable, just like he does with himself. That balance of support and challenge, it builds respect, and from respect, love grows. 10. Men who know who they are. Confidence isn't just about swagger, it's about identity. Women fall hard for men who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't try to be someone else to impress her, who know their values, their worth, and their limits. That level of self-awareness shows maturity. It shows security, and it's rare, because most people are still figuring it out. But when she meets a man who's already there, or at least actively working on it, he stands out. So there you have it. Like it or not, these are the kinds of men women fall for. Not because of a checklist. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Which trait stood out to you the most? What do you think women really want in a man? Thanks for watching. And remember, the most attractive thing you can be is authentic.